today from All Shapes Bonsai Nursery to give you another demonstration in preparing a tree to do jinn and shari finishing. We had the tools laid out on the bench here, and I just wanted to show everybody what we use. It's nothing really high-tech, but it gets the job done. What we want to show you first is that we use a lime sulfur ingredient here in order to bleach and preserve the wood after it's done and treated. We also have a knife, okay, to detail some of the wood before we begin, and you'll see how this is being used. I have a little artist brush here. You can find these in a dollar store. Nothing special about it. It's just a small scale brush, and probably the biggest tool you'll need here, and it's not really that big, is a Dremel router. The bit that we're going to use here today is nothing more than a wire wheel on the end. It's not stiff, it's not too soft, but it's going to be used to clean the wood. The tree that we're going to be using today, or demonstrating on, is a juniper. It's up here on the top shelf. As you can see, it was jinned and sharied at one other time, but it has since weathered and got sort of moldy and a little deteriorated looking. So what we're planning to do today is to clean this off, apply the lime sulfur again, give it another coat, maybe 2 coats, and I want you to see what a difference it makes in the looks of the tree. So as we begin, what I wanted to show you is, first of all, was the tools. Nothing really too extensive, but what we want to do first is go in with the Dremel and the wire wheel, and to clean that area up, to get rid of the mildew, get rid of the mold that's taking over, and to really bring the color out before we apply the lime sulfur. So here we go. We're going to bring the tree down to my level. Hopefully you can see what's going on out there. Now this is a variable speed Dremel, which is really nice to have. And you can see the dust coming off. Well, that dust is part of the problem here. Over the years, the jinn here has weathered. It has gotten cruddy. There's actually even lichens growing on it, and it's actually allowing the tree to hide itself behind this jinn. So all I'm doing is just trying to remove all the loose particles that are on top of it. While this is taking place, you actually want to try to keep the wood that we're working on as dry as possible. It just does a nicer job. Now I'm not pressing hard at all. I'm just really allowing the brush to take this off as evenly as possible. Now for anyone out there not knowing what this actually is, this is the heartwood of the tree where the bark on the exterior of the plant was stripped off. Now this heartwood is nothing more than the structure of the tree that supports everything. It grows as the plant grows. The living tissue is on the outside, so we remove that living tissue and expose the heartwood. Almost done. There we go. So I'm going to put the tool off to the side at the moment. Now what we use to finish the job is an ingredient called lime sulfur. And what it does is it's a bleach, and it'll actually whiten this area that we just cleaned off to bring out the color of the wood. The wood should be nice and white. It gives it that aged look to it. It actually acts as a preservative. It helps keep the insects out, and it helps the wood to stay intact so it doesn't rot so fast. So I'm going to grab my artist brush. We'll open up the container. Now the idea of doing this, when you work on it, try to keep the lime sulfur out of the soil the best you can. Sometimes if the job is big, you might want to apply something down to the top of the surface here so that nothing should happen to fall in it accidentally. And really what you want to do is just paint this on there. Now it's okay to get some of this on the side of the tree. However, you want to concentrate on just applying it to the dead wood that we had just cleaned off. Try your best to keep it out of the soil. And you simply just paint it on here. Well, you might ask, well, how much of it do I apply? Well, you put as much on as the wood wants to handle. You can always go back and add a little bit more. Try to prevent it from running off, though. This is actually soaking in quite well. You can see as it's applied how the wood actually darkens right now. Well, as this dries, it'll actually bleach the wood, you'll see, in return. Give it a little bit of a turn. Okay, that's my first coat. Now what I'm going to do is let this dry a little bit, and we'll come back and we'll add another layer. We're back. It's been about 30 minutes and our project tree had a chance to dry a little bit, so I just wanted to go over what we were doing, but we're basically applying our first coat of lime sulfur back onto the tree, and as you see, it's starting to pop out. The color change is starting to pop out. And what I want to do right now is to show you that it still needs a little detailing. And what I want to do is to go in with my knife and just pick out the corners where the color didn't meet up with the side of the tree here. So I'm just going to scrape this down a little bit. And as I do, you can see that some of the mold is starting to peel away. And here, once again, this is a tree that was neglected. It needed to have some maintenance done. I'll just blow that off. We're just going to clean this out a little bit more. We're almost done. We're just going to scrape it out. Now we're just working the blade between the bark which rolled over on the old cut. And they're just trying to clean out the dead mold again. Now if you happen to dig into the bark, it's not a problem. It'll simply just heal over and it'll grow back again. It's not a big deal. We had a couple spots on the bark which the Dremel tool took off some of the live tissue. Not a big deal. Don't worry about it too much. But at the same time, you don't want to do it to take off all the old tissue, the living tissue off the side of the tree. We're just about done here. So what we're going to do is going to go back into using the lime sulfur, give it another coat, open our bottle back up again here. Again, it's my artist brush. It's still wet because it's only been about 40 minutes. We're going to start painting on the top this time. Again, pointing out, here's a couple of digs from the Dremel. Alright, took some of the tissue back. Not a big deal, don't worry too much about it. At the same time, I'm not going to put lime sulfur over that. Now we're applying the second coat now. But you know, I've seen trees where it actually absorbed this lime sulfur, where even a third, even a fourth coat might be needed. Again, I think you need to let the tree tell you how much it's ready to absorb. And if you're not certain, well, after the second coat dries, try a third coat. Especially if you're not happy with the brilliance of the color that you're getting out of it. Now this lime sulfur does have a bad smell to it. It smells really like sulfur and rotten eggs. It's not a pleasant smell at all, and it's not one that you want to have inside of your house. So if you can, you should really work outside. We're inside of the greenhouse, and believe me, today is a very windy day today. Things are shaking, rocking, and rolling. There's not much of a smell going on here. Here again, give it a second coat. And you can see as it goes on, it's turning yellow right offhand. But when it dries, as you can look down over here, take a close-up of this, you can see how the color white is beginning to pop out of it. Now when you do lime sulfur, you can certainly do work like this, but you can also do little branches that have died back. First of all, what you want to do is peel that cambium layer off. That's that living tissue that I'm working around right now. Peel that back till you expose the heartwood. Allow that heartwood to dry, just like we're doing now, and then give it a coat of lime sulfur. Lime sulfur is not a common item found in a home center. A lot of garden shops don't even carry it, the larger high-end garden shops. But we do have it here, allshapesbonsai.com. We carry it. And there we go. Keep it out of the soil the best you can. You don't want it starting to go down in there. I'll tell you, right down here on the bottom, it's really just soaking it in. So I might even have to give this a third coat later on. But that's it, pretty much done, until it dries. And we're going to take another look at it. The final picture, you'll get a chance to see it as soon as it dries. We'll be back to show you.